1 week in Poland. News, comments, events, everything you need to know about the country you live in. Hello everybody, welcome back to a new episode of 1 Week in Poland, the information service of IMI Radio dedicated to the main news of the previous 7 days happened in the country. My name is Fabio Turco, I'm an Italian journalist living here in Warsaw, Poland, and in the first part of the broadcast we'll find out what's going on in Poland, what are the most remarkable news of the last 7 days. In the second part of the show, we'll be more focused to Warsaw, the capital city, about news and events related, to Warsaw. So if you are ready, and I guess you are ready, we can start. The first news of the week is something happened the last Sunday, something that happened in Warsaw actually, but in this time I will speak it about in the general part of the broadcast because an important fire broke out in the vast shopping center of Mariwielska 44 in Białowieża district in the northeast side of Warsaw. The fire has burned down almost the entire facility. Fortunately, there were no injuries. The rescue operation was carried out by 58 teams and around 100 firefighters. In the first hour of the morning, the first hour of the last Sunday, a thick black smoke rose over the area, and the operation had also been joined by chemical and environmental rescue specialists. Warsaw authorities sent immediately a message warning the residents about the fire, asking them to stay at home with the windows closed, because there was the fear that chemical stuff could be sparkled in the air. But sometime later, Michał Konopka of the Warsaw headquarters of the State Fire Brigade said that the smoke no longer posed a threat to the health of Warsaw residents. Apart from retail outlets, Mariwielska 44 shopping center also had a wholesale offer. The Warsaw authorities declared that they would launch talks with the shop owners to find out what assistance could be offered to them. The owner of the shopping center has announced that it will rebuild the facility in discussion with the business owners who operate there. Local authorities have also pledged to support merchants who lost their businesses. Mariwielska 44 was built after Warsaw City Hall decided to relocate merchants who ran their shops in the very city center of the city, near the Palace of Culture and Science, and from the former Stadion Dziesięciolecia, 10th anniversary stadium, on the east side of Vistula River, where today the National Stadium is located. At the time, this was considered to be one of the biggest bazaars in Europe, and the new facility housed hundreds of retail shops, very often run by merchants of Vietnamese origin, offering cheap textiles, other products, and food. It was visited by 10,000 customers every day, so Mariwielska 44 was really very popular in Warsaw. Police are investigating the cause of the fire and made claims that it could have been deliberately caused. Indeed, conspiracy theories also quickly spread online, suggesting that the fire could have been started deliberately so that the existing building would be destroyed and the site could be redeveloped. For example, as housing. Such ideas were stoked by the fact that many business owners at Mariwielska 44 launched a protest earlier this year against plans to significantly increase the rent they pay. The commander of Poland's fire service, Mariusz Feltrenowski, told the media on Sunday that it had been very strange how quickly the fire spread. But the fire occurred to Mariwilska 44 was not the only one to have ravaged Poland in recent days. There have been several fires a bit scattered around the country. Also on Sunday, a materials warehouse caught fire in Warsaw. A large fire occurred in Siemianowice-Śląskie in the Silesian region, and 2 other fires occurred in a high school in Grudziądz Mazowiecki and in a fire training school in Poznan. One emergency after another, to the point that suspicions arose that this was not a random occurrence. It was a few weeks ago that European intelligence was alerted to the possibility of Russian sabotage, including arson in the run-up to the European elections. President Andrzej Duda and Prime Minister Donald Tusk intervened on this point. Mr. President Andrzej Duda stated it is difficult not to have the suspicion of fear that the series of incidents that hit Poland is not accidental, but an attempt to destabilize through the action of external factors. More cautious, the Prime Minister, Mr. Donald Tusk, who said that there is no reason to believe that these fires were the result of the actions of external forces, but this in no way reduces the threat of possible sabotage, revealing that in recent weeks, Poland and its allies have prevented sabotage and other arson attempts from taking place. The major European news, the most important news of the week, you probably know, occurred on Wednesday in the neighboring Slovakia with the assassination attempt on Prime Minister Robert Fico. Robert Fico is the Prime Minister of Slovakia. Fico was seriously wounded by 3 gunshots and he's still hospitalized in a very serious condition. The event caused a great shock in Slovakia, of course, but also across the world and in Poland. Polish President Andrzej Duda wrote on social media that he was shocked by the assassination attempt on Prime Minister Robert Fico, adding that the cruelty of this attack is unimaginable. My thoughts, said Duda, and prayers are with Robert Fico, his family, and the people of Slovakia. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said in a post on the X social media platform, shocking news from Slovakia. Robert, my thoughts are with you in this very difficult moment. Poland's top diplomat Radosław Sikorski wrote, I'm shocked by the attack on the Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico. I hope for the Prime Minister's speedy recovery and for the clarification of all circumstances surrounding this terrible event. Fico, who is 59 years old, was shot and injured after a government meeting in the town of Handlowa in the west, actually in the central west of the country. He was rushed to a local hospital with multiple injuries and then airlifted by helicopter to the central city of Banska Bystrica for an urgent surgery. Coming back to Poland, there is an important news, not only for Poland, yes, but on the Polish perspective, because the European Union proposed the new asylum and immigration system has been approved despite Poland voting against the so-called Migration Pact in its entirety. Following the European Council vote, Prime Minister Donald Tusk reiterated his previous pledge that the government would strive to ensure that Poland won't have to accept any migrants, that the European Union won't impose any migrant quotas on Poland. The main aim of the pact is to standardize rules for asylum seekers reaching Europe. The most controversial part has been the so-called solidarity mechanism to provide support to member states on the front line of migration. It would require other member states to accept relocated migrants from those states to pay 20,000 euro for each migrant they don't accept, or to negotiate some other form of support for the frontline country in question. Poland's former National Conservative Law and Justice government last year declared a strong opposition to that element of the plan, and that has been continued by the new government led by Donald Tusk, which took power in December. The finance minister, Andrzej Domanski, who represented Poland in the vote, said the pact in its current form does not take into account the specific situation of countries bordering, for example, Belarus, countries that are facing the growing pressure of the so-called hybrid war. The latter term refers to the crisis Poland has faced on the border with Belarus since mid-2021, when the Belarusian authorities began encouraging and helping tens of thousands of migrants and asylum seekers, many from the Middle East, Asia, and Africa, to try to cross into the European Union. Domanski blamed the previous Law and Justice government for failing to negotiate the European Union Pact in a manner that would be beneficial for Poland. After the vote, Donald Tusk noted that Poland has taken in hundreds of thousands of migrants due to the war in Ukraine, but also migrants from Belarus. He added that as such he would seek to ensure that, despite having opposed the pact, Poland will become a beneficiary of it. Last year, the European Union's Home Affairs Commissioner Ylva Johansson argued that Poland would indeed benefit from the pact due to its status as a frontline migration state. We won't pay for anything. We won't have to accept any migrants from other directions. The European Union won't impose any migrants quotas on us, said Tusk today, quoted by the broadcaster RMF. We managed to obtain such provisions that make the pact less threatening to Poland than at the beginning. As of the end of March, Poland was home to 955,000 refugees from Ukraine, the second highest number in the European Union after Germany. The former Law and Justice Prime Minister, Mateusz Morawiecki, who was in office during most negotiations of the pact, however, warned that, contrary to Tusk's reassurances, Poland will be forced to take in illegal immigrants or pay millions in fines. So he stated. Civic Platform, Donald Tusk party, failed to block the migration pact, Morawiecki wrote on the platform X. It is the government's duty to challenge the migration pact at the European Court of Justice, referring to the conclusion of 2018 European Summit, where I negotiated the principle of Poland's voluntary participation in the relocation mechanism. So this was the statement by Mr. Mateusz Morawiecki. Not only Poland was against the pact in its entirety, but also Hungary and Slovakia, while Czech Republic chose to abstain from voting on the majority of elements, while Austria voted against the section on managing a crisis situation. So 3 countries of the so-called B4 Visegrad area voted against the pact. However, the migration pact did not need unanimity among member states to move forward. Only a so-called qualified majority of member states were required to support it. Now the pact has been approved, and the European Commission will present an implementation plan next month, after which individual member states will have until January to submit their own national plans. We move to internal politics. Poland's parliament has almost unanimously supported a package of measures proposed by the government to provide financial support to help parents of young children return to work. The legislation would offer parents a choice of one of three types of benefit for children aged between 12 and 35 months. One of the options is entirely new and has been informally named granny payments, so in Polish babciowe, by the government. It would provide 1,500 zloty, it's around 446 euro a month to pay for care for the child of a working parent. The money can be used for a nanny, but also for a grandparent to look after the child. We have granny payments, tweeted the Prime Minister Donald Tusk after the vote in Parliament, signing his message as granddad. Indeed, Donald Tusk has 5 grandchildren. The other two choices for parents both expand existing benefits. One increases the amount available to subsidy nursery fees for a child from 400 zloty per month to 1,500 zloty per month. So more than 1,000 zloty is more than 250 euro of increase. And therefore, it brings in line with the level of the granny payments. The legislation would also introduce an upper limit on nursery fees to prevent institutions from raising prices to take advantage of the newly increased benefits. For both granny payments and nursery payments, the amount paid to the parents would rise to 1,900 zloty per month for a child with disabilities. The final option is for parents who remain professionally inactive or whose child does not attend a care institution. They will continue to receive 500 zloty a month under a previous system known as Family Care Capital, but this will be expanded to also be available for a parent's first child. The bill now passes to the Senate, where it is likely to be approved. The upper house can suggest changes to the law or reject it, but in either case, that can be overridden by the same. Once passed by Parliament, it would go to President Andrzej Duda for final approval. And then another internal news. This is something sad, actually, because Poland has been ranked as the worst country in the European Union for LGBT plus people for the 5th consecutive year in the annual Rainbow Map published by ILGA Europe, a Brussels-based NGO. Poland's score in the ranking, which takes account of the legal, political, and social environment for LGBT plus people, rose slightly from 15% last year to 17.5% of this year. The next lowest figures among European Union member states were for Romania, 19%, and Bulgaria, 23%. The only countries in Europe with lower scores than Poland are all outside the European Union: San Marino, Monaco, Belarus, Armenia, Turkey, Azerbaijan, and Russia. Russia at the bottom with 2%. At the other end of the scale, Malta, 88%, Iceland, Belgium, Spain, and Denmark topped the ranking. As well as being up from last year, Poland's score of 17.5% was also its highest score since 2019. In that latter year, then the Law and Justice government launched a sustained anti-LGBT plus campaign that saw Poland fall in the ranking. The National Conservative Party was replaced in power in December, so how we recalled previously, by a new, more liberal coalition, which promised to improve LGBT plus rights, but so far this coalition not passed any legislation to that effect. In any case, there would be also the potential veto from Mr. President Andrzej Duda. So no changes, unfortunately, about this topic so far. Two of the policies that the government hopes to introduce: civil partnership for same-sex couples and expanding hate crime laws to cover sexual orientation or gender identity, are among the three main recommendations made by ILGA Europe for how Poland can improve the situation of LGBT plus people. Its third suggestion is that Poland allow same-sex couples to have access to second parents adoption, so meaning allowing one member of a couple to legally adopt the biological child of their partner without terminating the other parent's legal rights. So this was the unfortunately sad situation of LGBT plus people in Poland, and now we switch to something totally different. This is an award. We start with the statement made by the director, filmmaker Agnieszka Holland. I would urge people to think about the future not at a distance of opinion polls, but in the long term. This is what I find lacking in politicians, journalists, and artists. This was her statement the last Friday when Agnieszka Holland was awarded by the daily newspaper Gazeta Wyborcza as a Person of the Year in recognition of her artistic achievement and civic courage. The timing of the award, we read on Polish radio, can be interpreted as an affirmation of her 2023 film Green Border, Zielona Granica in Polish, urging a greater compassion for refugees attempting to cross the Belarusian border into Poland. Agnieszka Holland's award is our award, thirsting for freedom and truth after the poisons of the totalitarianism, wrote the editor-in-chief of Gazeta Wyborcza, Adam Michnik, in his justification. The gala ceremony was held at the newspaper's headquarters, actually in the days when a double celebration is recurring, because the person of the year gala is recurring also in the days of the 35th birthday of Gazeta Wyborcza. Dominika Wielowiejska and Roman Imielski reminded from the stage that the newspaper turned 35 years old on May 8th. Adam Michnik stressed that the editorial team had always felt that it wanted to be a newspaper that was not only democratic but anti-totalitarian, regardless of the color of the shirt of that extremism. Today, we have the conviction that without Wyborcza, Poland would be worse, not better. When you balance those years of the newspaper's existence, they were better and better years for Poland, not worse. Roman Imielski also recalled that one of the members of the team, Andrzej Poczobut, has been in prison for several years and is a hostage of the regime of the Belarusian dictator of Alexander Lukashenko. Grodno Regional Court on February 8, 2023, Grodno is a city in the western Belarus, sentenced the journalist for extremism to 8 years in a maximum security prison. In August 2023, he was punished with a 6-month stay in a punishment cell. So this was the news related to celebration, double celebration of the Person of the Year Gala and the anniversary of Gazeta Wyborcza. And now we approach to the last news of the first part of 1 Week in Poland. Is sport news as usual. Actually, it's a double. It's a double news. Both are about tennis. We start with the world number one, Iga Świątek, who continues her dominance on the clay courts of Rome. In Rome, they're playing the Italian Opens, securing her spot in the final of the WTA tournament with an impressive victory over the American player Coco Gauff. Świątek won 6-4, 6-3. This win marks Świątek's 10th victory over Coco Gauff in 11 encounters. The progression to the final keeps her on track to claim her third consecutive trophy in the Italian capital, mirroring her triumph in 2021 and 2022. Today at 5 p.m., Świątek will play for the winning of the tournament against Aryna Sabalenka, number 2 of ranking WTA. And I encourage you not to miss this match because Świątek-Sabalenka is a classic of those years between the two strongest tennis players of the court. Speaking about the men, Hubert Hurkacz stopped at quarterfinals his adventure at the Italian Open. The 27-year-old Pole, ranked world number 9, was defeated in the quarterfinals by the American Tommy Paul. Previously, he defeated Biles, the tennis player Biles, 5-7, 7-6, 6-4. So this was the last news of the first part of 1 Week in Poland, the part of the broadcast dedicated to the general news. Now, as usual, we have a break with a song. The song will be from a Polish group which is favorite by Agnieszka Holland. The band is Trupa Trupa. The song is called The Thrill. But stay with us because after the song we come back with the second part of the show. This was Thrill by Trupa, and welcome back to the second part of 1 Week in Poland. This is the part of the broadcast dedicated to Warsaw, to the news and events regarding the capital city. I have many advices for you for this weekend and next days, because it's plenty of things that you can do. Starting from today. Today, I want to remind you that it's a very important day, because actually it's a very important night. Because the night between today and tomorrow is the so-called Night of Museum. Night of Museum is an event that every year occurs in Warsaw, actually in all Poland in May, and we are at the 20th edition. And the Night of Museum is the chance to visit free of charge museum, workshops, and events for which usually a ticket fee is required, but it gives also the possibility of visit inside institutions which are usually unavailable to the public. So, for example, I remind in Warsaw the filtre spot that is unavailable all the year, but the night of museum, over 300 events, actually 312 events are planned for today. For today night, I can just recall some of them. So there will be the possibility to visit the Polish History Museum, the National Museum, the Outdoor Cinema Lost Works, or I don't know, the Night of Museum in the Shadow of the Samurai, a special event, or the Night of Museum in the Sejm and the Senate, so the Parliament and the Senate. Or what I can tell you that, for example, also the Polish radio archives will be open exceptionally for today. So you have really many things you can do tonight. There are also bus connection that help people to reach the museum, the spots they want to visit. So enjoy, because it's really a special night, and I think the weather is also helping us to enjoy. So the weather is really good. Another thing that we're having starting from this weekend is the beginning of the 65th season of the open air recital in Park Łazienki, the Warsaw Royal Łazienki Park, with the sound of Frédéric Chopin. The historic series, which has drawn around 3 million attendees since its inception in 1959, will feature performances at the foot of the iconic Chopin monument. The season opener boasts an impressive lineup, starting with Polish pianist Krzysztof Jabłoński, third prize winner of the 1985 International Chopin competition, who will perform at noon. Actually, he already started and concluded the performance, but don't worry, because this show is recurring during the weekend for every weekend. He will be followed by Italy's Leonora Armellini, fifth prize winner at the 2021 competition. And she will take the stage at 4 p.m. So we are still on time. Audiences can look forward to the two concerts every Sunday until September 29, featuring a diverse array of talent. This year's performers include eminent Polish pianists across several generations, such as Marek Drewnowski, Karol Radziwonowicz, Jakub Kuszlik, and Aleksandra Szwigut. So this is something you shouldn't miss. And another thing you shouldn't miss if you like reading, but not only, it's the Warsaw International Book Fair that this year is scheduled from May 23rd to May 26th at the Palace of Culture and Science and in Platz Defilade and Parade Square. It is one of the most important cultural and industry events of the book community in Poland, and every year attracts crowd of literature lovers. The event, organized by the History and Culture Foundation, is well known and respected in Europe and around the world. This year there is a guest of honor. The guest of honor is Italy, which represents an extraordinary opportunity for Italian publishers to present themselves to a market of 40 million inhabitants, who's had the opportunity on several occasions have the deep and genuine interest in Italian culture in various fields. This was the statement by the Italian ambassador Luca Franchetti Pardo. The program of 2024 Warsaw International Book Fair will be varied and rich to satisfy the diverse tastes and interests of visitors. This year's fair will feature events promoting Italian literature, festival of comic, crime, and children literature, thematic zones, international literary awards, and prestigious competition, as well as numerous industry events. I can recall two of the guests from Italy, some very important guests. Alessandro Barbero, the historic, very popular historic in Italy, historian, and who was able to promote the love for the history in the country. For sure, it will be very interesting, and with the writers Federica Manzon. So what about the time? The fair will be open to the public. So the time of opening to the public on 24th of May, it will be open since 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The following 2 days, 24th and 25th, it will be open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. The last day, 26th, it will be open since 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And now we are coming to the last part of the broadcast, the part dedicated to advices, to the music advices for the weekend. This is something that is recurring in the show. And my first advice is for today at Kultura Wysoka Club in Ulica Szwedzka number 2, starting from 6 p.m. This is a musical experience, a music event. It is called Cacao Dance European Tour. It's a joint venture by two artists, Mose and Bruna Bortolato. This is something specific. This is a journey. We can read on the presentation. A journey where the tradition of cacao merges with music and dance, creating an evening full of depth, dance, inspiration, and artistic aura. Discover with us the pulsating and nourishing energy of cacao dance. This is something really specific. What about the presentation of the two artists? Mose resides in Guatemala, where cacao ceremonies and ecstatic dance have greatly influenced his musical production and DJ style. It is there that he regularly held a cacao dance, during which community members have the opportunity to deeply immerse in a dance with a ceremonial alcohol-free environment. Beyond multicultural rhythms and a constant hypnotic beat, Moz interwaves ephemeral chants of sacred songs and calls for love, kindness, and compassion, often inviting live musicians to collaborating. Bruna Bortolato is a mentor, DJ, and a movement teacher. With deep dedication, initiates cacao ceremonies, opening hearts to feminine power and profound healing. Her journey began at the age of 23 when she bravely left Brazil to explore yoga, meditation, and ancient wisdom around the world. Now she settled in the heart of Guatemala, surrounded by majestic mountains and the El Fuego volcano. She shares her passion and love for cacao with those seeking transformation. Bruna believes that cacao is a gateway to the heart of the earth, a key to deeper love and compassion. Through the extraordinary gatherings she organizes with her partner Mose, she invites a celebration of life, embodiment of oneself and one's dreams, and true freedom. So this is a very specific event that I advise to attend today. The second and last, it's actually for tomorrow. Sunday, May 19th at Club Hydrozagatka in 11 November Street, number 22. Starting at 6:30 p.m., we'll have the concert by Ichikanito. Ichikanito is a very important guitarist. He's considered the future of the guitar music. He can play everything from complex math rock to muted lo-fi, hip-hop, or J-pop. He shows that the full potential of the instrument and one's own skills can be displayed in other ways than merely cutting, finger-picking souls. Ichikanito has gained popularity through YouTube and his videos in which he shines with 14-string or even electronic guitars rack up tens of millions of views. But it's not about showing off in this case, because in Nito's case, the main role is played primarily by eclecticism packaged with a virtuoso background, accentuated by great song writing. So I can tell you more, so I think that the best thing is leaving you at the end of this episode with a song playing by Chicanito, so you can listen what you can listen tomorrow at Club Hydrozagatka from 6:30 p.m. This was the last advice. This was the last news for today. Stay with us because we have an afternoon very, very important and rich of things here in IMI Radio at 2 p.m. shooting backstage with Natalie Che, and then at 3 p.m. Radio Chechenia with Leila. So stay with us. I want to thank you for staying with us for these 45 minutes. Thank you to Michał for the technical assistance, and see you in 7 days with another episode of 1 Week in Poland. Bye bye.